Chapter 13 Adventure Again. Deborah was 41 years old and still restless. Sometimes she taught in a school nearby, but that was not enough for her. By then her fame was well known. Her amazing story had begun to be told right after she got out of the army. Her adventures had been printed in a New York newspaper. They were told again in newspapers in Massachusetts. Everyone wanted to know about Deborah's life as Robert Shurtleff the soldier. She gave her first talk in Sharon, her hometown. It was a big success. She decided to give talks in other places, cities like Boston, Providence, New York. Ben did not stop her, but he would not go with her. He would stay home with the children and work on the farm. Deborah Sampson was one of the first women in this country to travel alone and give talks for money. She made all the travel arrangements and took care of every detail by herself. She put notices in the local papers. Tickets may be had at the courthouse from 5 o'clock till the performance begins. Price 25 cents, children half price. She put on her old uniform and spoke about her adventures. She spoke against war. She told how she felt when she could not help the men around her who had been shot. "I looked upon these scenes," she said, "as one looks on a drowning man without being able to extend a hand." She said she could not understand why men fought. "My young mind wanted to understand why men should rage against his fellow man, to butcher or to be butchered." She kept a diary. May 5th, 1802. "When I entered the hall, I must say I was much pleased at the appearance of the audience. It appeared from almost every face that they were full of unbelief. I mean in regard to my being the person that served in the Revolutionary Army." She kept a record of the money she had to pay out. Albany, August 31st, 1802. To Old Keykeeper, $2. To Mr. Barber for printing, $3. To Mr. Lester for finding candles, $1.34. To sweeping the courthouse, 48 cents. For cleaning the candlesticks, 20 cents. For brushing the seats, 17 cents. For the dressing of my hair, $1. To boarding, $6. To washing, $1.34. Some of the money she earned she sent home. "I hope my family makes good use of it," she wrote. Sometimes she made visits to her old army friends. Once she stayed at the home of old General Patterson and his wife. But she began to miss her family more and more. "Oh dear, could I but once more see my dear children," she wrote in her diary. She was getting tired of traveling from one place to the next. Besides, her legs still hurt her, especially when she was tired. The next year she came home for good. 2 years later, in 1805, the government voted to give money to the soldiers who had been wounded in the war. Deborah received her share. 13 years later, the government gave her more money. She got $8 a month until she died on April 29th, 1827, at the age of 67. More than 100 years after she died, she was not forgotten. A warship was named after her. Today, in Sharon, Massachusetts, the house she lived in with Ben and her children still stands. In the quiet cemetery, a marble tablet has been put up in her honor. Nearby is Deborah Sampson Street, named for the daring young woman who looked for adventure and found it.